After the Vad of Kans, Jarasandh planned on taking revenge for his son-in-law. Jarasandh was a very powerful king who had defeated many kings and made alliances with them. This made him and his army feared and invincible. Jarasandh had attacked Mathura 17 times, but he had only faced defeat at the hands of Sri Krishna. Jarasandh got furious after every defeat, and so, the 18th time, he formed an alliance with Kalyavan. Kalyavan was a Yavan warrior who had the boon of being undefeated on the battlefield from Bholenath. Mathura had faced war 17 times. That led to the scarcity of arms, resources, and soldiers. And when the 18th time Jarasandh declared war, the whole of Mathura panicked. Balram was making his way in haste towards Krishna to give crucial information, and as he found him, he broke the news. "Krishna, it's Jarasandh again! He doesn't seem to know how to give up. This time he has brought an even bigger army with him." There was no change in Krishna's expression as he kept on playing his flute gleefully. Balram knew his brother well and asked him, "Madhav, you seem to be enjoying your flute a little too much today. Would you be joining me or should I lead ahead?" Krishna slowly opened his eyes that forever held a peaceful gaze. He took one good look at his brother and smiled. Taking a deep breath, he said, "Thou, do you know the reason Jarasandh's army is bigger than ever this time? He has brought in an invader from Yavan to help him. It is impossible to defeat this mighty invader." The brave generals of Mathura present there were baffled to hear these words. The commander of the army inquired, "We have given them the taste of defeat over and over for 17 times. With you by our side, Madhav, we can defeat anyone." "My dear, you speak because you do not know the story of Kalyavan. His walk is that of a tiger who has never tasted defeat, as he was born from the boon of Shiv. Because of Mahadev's boon, he cannot be defeated on the battlefield." Krishna gave brief information about their enemy. "So what do you suggest we do?" Balram asked as he was curious to know what Krishna was planning. Krishna looked at his elder brother and his army men. He could see they were all nervous. Shyam giggled and said, "Of course I have a plan. Here is what we are going to do. We run." A baffled Balbhadra looked at Keshav and said, "Run from battle and face the ridicule of the world? Do you have any doubts over my strength, brother?" Krishna calmly replied, "Thou, battles are won by strategy and not strength alone. Sometimes running can be a good strategy. Trust me on this one, the way you have trusted me every time." The next morning, Kalyavan was giving instructions to his army as they reached the gates of Mathura. Kalyavan told his army what he knew about Krishna through Jarasandh. Kalyavan described to his men Sri Krishna's appearance as the person they needed to capture. He said, "When you see someone who shines like 1,000 suns, a face that reflects the peace of moon, whose beauty needs no ornamental enhancements, and a smile that can captivate his enemies too, capture him and bring him to me." The army of Kalyavan entered Mathura like a pack of wild hunting dogs. They went everywhere and searched for this man. Kalyavan too was on watch, and suddenly a few of his men informed him about a man, but the soldier failed to fully describe him. He said, "There is a man at the gate. He is the most handsome man I have seen. He is dark and radiant, but it seems like he is escaping." Kalyavan rushed to the gate and found Shyam. Kalyavan too stood mesmerized for a few moments before jumping into action. He saw Krishna fleeing from the battlefield, and so Kalyavan followed him. He wanted to catch Krishna so desperately that he forgot to take any arms with him. Watching Krishna run so fast surprised Kalyavan, and he shouted, "I have heard how you killed Kans with your own hands and how you defeated Jarasandha 17 times, and yet you are running away?" Kalyavan took pride in mocking Sri Krishna, and he again spoke, "Come here and fight. Don't run away like a coward." Kalyavan's pride did not let him see that he was falling right into the trap laid by Krishna. Soon, Krishna entered a cave and hid, taking advantage of the darkness inside the cave. Krishna kept his shawl on the sleeping Raja Muchukund. "You think I will spare you if you sleep? I am giving you the final warning to get up and fight." Kalyavan kicked the sleeping figure. The sleeping figure moved and turned. Kalyavan was in shock to realize it was not Krishna. But before he could explain, Muchukund opened his eyes and Kalyavan was reduced to ashes. Muchukund then saw a dark man standing, a being shining brighter than the suns he had ever seen. "Who are you?" Raja asked. "My names and my actions cannot be named in one breath. Rajan, your time to sleep is over. Ask me for any boon and I shall grant it to you," Sri Krishna said. To Krishna's surprise, Raja simply asked to be with Narayan. But Mohan tried testing Raja and said, "I can give you anything you like. I can make you the king of the entire world. You name it and you shall have it." Listening to all this, Raja replied, "Hey Dev, please do not make fun of me. I have been a great king, fought many wars and won them all, have had a prosperous kingdom, but somehow your presence brings me peace. That is all I want." Krishna smiled and said, "My king, you truly are a great hero and deserve salvation. You needed to do penance, for you had killed many, and now your days of penance are over. I grant you a place in Vaikuntha where you can be with me." The two then departed. Krishna went back to Mathura to help Balram defeat the army, and the king stayed back and commenced his penance. It is said that the king was reborn as a Brahman's son, who by the virtue of his devotion achieved moksha and finally attained a place in Vaikuntha Dham.